breaking down on you, but it's just part of it anymore. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to Donnie since this happened. I I, I don't want to say it, but and I don't want to side sides, and I'm not taking sides because I don't know. I
Right.
have no clue.
But you have a feeling.
But if you look at him, he's a broke dude. I don't know that he knows,
Yeah.
but I also can't say that he don't at this point.
Would you say the same for about Candace?
I've not really talked to her since. I've not seen her maybe a couple times since.
Since Summer's disappearance, or
Yeah, I mean, yeah, since Summer's disappearance. So I don't.
Interjecting here real quick just to say that Andy has said previously that he mainly dealt with Dawn and that Jody Sue is the one that dealt with Candace. So I'm not really sure how well Andy truly knew Candace.
I really don't know. I don't. I don't want to put no evil on nobody that don't deserve it.
right? But then again, you have a feeling, right?
Objection, Your Honor. Leading questions.
You ha-
Yeah, but also it falls into me having that dream, and where
mm,
I possibly think she is too. So
mm. But you've told
it,
everything you think to the law, right?
yeah, I talked to them when they showed up. I know I told them everything and anything they wanted to know. Uh, I mean, they've not showed up wanting to talk with me since, so I assume that they don't. And I don't do this community. I don't do the investigation. That's not that's not what I do. That's definitely not what I do.
Hmm.
If true, and law enforcement only spoke with Andy right after Summer Wells went missing, that seems a little strange because, as Jody Sue has mentioned multiple times, how they have come and talked to her. Now, granted, she is a YouTube creator. With that comes a whole lot of drama, so that might be a lot of the reason why they may have paid her more visits than they have Andy. But I do think it's really strange they've only talked to him like that one time. This next question, she is asking about Fred Hills saying that he saw Andy that day. And I did do an entire video kind of revolving around this, but you can find it in the video that's in the picture on the screen. But this is Andy's response to whether or not Fred Hills saw him that day. I do think it's pretty important to hear what Andy has to say about it.
Fred had said that he saw you at 3:30, like that you and him made eye contact, and that he saw you home at 3:30. Now,
Could not have.
could not have.
There's could not have. I
Okay.
never left. I never left Hayworth Tire till after 5 something that evening. There's text messages of me leaving work, me sending them to Jody Sue that somebody has said or showed in the past of me saying, "Hey, I'm leaving work." I didn't leave work through the day. I didn't have time to leave work in the daytime and run home and run back.
So TBI has never said to you that they might have you at 3:30 on some camera. I heard something like trail cameras. Have you heard of? Do you? So that's not possible. You're saying.
That is not. That is no way possible that I was there on the 15th. On the
Okay.
14th, yes,
Okay. At
by
like
all means.
3:30 on
On
the
the
14th.
14th, maybe at 3:30 on the 14th, maybe at 3:30 on the 16th, but
Yeah.
not. I'm saying hell no
To
at
the
the
15th.
3:30 on the 15th. No,
Okay. Yeah.
there's no
And you
way.
have an
I was at
alibi,
work.
right?
I was at work. They had camera. They talked to my boss.
Okay.
TBI was at my work and talked to my boss. I seen the
Okay.
badge. I seen the uniform.
So I truly do believe him here. I know that a whole lot of people give a lot of credence to what Fred Hill has to say, and that's because they adore Ziggy. I think Ziggy is great as well. I don't buy probably half of what Fred Hill says, though. That's my thoughts. Ryan Finds Truth just went and spoke with the owner of Hayworth Tires, and he did confirm again that Andy was there all day that day. So I do think that Fred saw him, but I just don't think it was on June 15th like he thinks it was.
Now, I will
Okay,
say
so
Dawn has only talked kind of very highly of you, which that always made me question, like, okay, one thing that stands the same through 2.5 years is that you and Dawn don't really have a bad thing to say about each other. So now that could be weird or not weird, right? I mean, you were neighbors for how
okay,
long?
look, he never. Okay, it was now look. At the point in time, I lived in Beach Creek. I got rated, which I never went to Knoxville with Donnie either. I don't know where people get this shit. I went to a hotel and hung out with
Yeah.
Donnie,
Yeah.
and I never, up until, what was it, November of 2022?
So,
Whenever a bunch of them came here, is the first time I'd ever been anywhere with Donnie and Candace.
right. So that would be when Hunter's dad and everybody came down for that night. or
No,
whatever.
no. That was after Summer went missing. That was, yes. I sold Don Wells some weed. That's it. I smoke weed. Yeah, I'll do psychedelics. I hardly ever drink. I social drink. I go out and I have dinner and I have a margarita, or I have maybe a couple margaritas, or I'll sit at home New Year's and I have some wine or some, well, not wine, shit, champagne or some liquor or something like that. I'm not a drunk. I'm not an alcoholic. I don't like getting violent. It's not fun for me.
Okay.
And I can tell you, okay, you want me to tell you? There was other underage boys over there that wasn't theirs.
What?
That was a prevalent thing.
Yeah, I've been hearing.
But I'm not going to say who they was.
So, do you think that there was abuse going on in that house?
I never seen nobody get abused in that house. The only
I'm not
thing
asking
I
what you've
seen that I
seen.
did not
Do you
approve,
think that there was?
I never seen none of them with black eyes, broke noses, or arms in slings, or, I mean, yeah, they was boys and they was rougher than hell, let me tell you. But no, I didn't. You could hear Candace holler at them every now and then, scream at them every now and then. But if they outside playing, what's the difference in yelling at them because they off down over the hill trying to get them to come back? I don't know where they was. I just know I hear her hollered.
Right.
I grew up, the only thing I didn't really like seeing is her running around unclothed a lot of the times, which kids, it's hard to keep clothed at that point in time. But if you're outside running around, you've got to keep your kids clothed.
So they posted a bunch of
Germs, dirt.
pictures of, they were building something out there, and you got little Summer out there with these grown men working on a house, and she's butt-ass naked, running around all these grown-ass men.
That was when they was tearing the trailer out from what's left now.
Yeah. So she would just be running around butt-ass naked all the time was the normal, I guess.
I mean, I've got pictures in here of me running around butt naked at my house when I was, shit, under 5, around 5, who knows? I mean, I don't know.
So you didn't think there was nothing odd about that?
Well, I mean, yeah, I do. A girl running around half naked or naked, yes.
Yeah, but from my understanding, it was quite a bit.
As a little boy, it's hard to keep clothes on our asses.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's just it's everything. It's hard to keep kids clothes when they're little like that. But once you hit a certain age, you got to get them to understand that they got to keep clothes on. I mean, it's wrong to let a little girl run around with a bunch of older men like that. Yes, they are dangerous people in this world today and sick people in this world today.
Now, do you think, was she letting that happen when...
Stop. Watch this before you buy another DTF transfer. Most people are overpaying, losing out on...
When she was like 5 years old, the pictures I saw, she was maybe a little bit younger, but was she still doing that like up until the time she went missing, like at 5? Like at 5 years old, I'd say that's when you start learning like how to dress properly to go outside. You know what I mean? You know you have to have clothes on, but maybe you're fussing on what clothes.
Like sometimes in the summertime, Seems like I remember going over and like they'd be out in the water or something. And yes, she might be 4 or 5, still run around naked or naked. Yes.
Okay.
I never thought that that was appropriate, especially if somebody's coming over, no matter who it is.
Right.
So the majority of people that I have heard speak on Dawn and Candace and whether or not they were abusive to their kids, the majority of the people have said no, they were not. It's kind of why I get a little upset when I hear a lot of the chatter that we do here on social media, because the majority can't be wrong, right? That's kind of how I think. So the majority have said that no, they were not abusive. I too disagree with the letting her run around naked or half naked. I know when I was about that age, there's a picture of me in nothing but underwear with my teenage uncle and his buddies on a dirt bikes. I don't think anybody thought anything of it back then, but I agree. I would not allow my children, boy or girl, to be quite honest. His comment about underage boys being over there and he wasn't going to mention any names, that's interesting. I wonder who and why. I mean, were these friends of their sons? Because there's kind of a lot left to the imagination there. This next clip, he's just going to touch on I believe he's talking about the whole peeping Tom issue. Jody Sue has said that she believes it was Dawn, and he's just going to speak about that. He's going to, I guess, try to clear it up that he never said for sure that it was Dawn.
You Stoner, I see a comment, it just happened to scroll through there. Said something about definitely Don that was stalking his family. Now, look, I'm going to put this out there like that. I said it was 3 people. I said it was Don, David Bays, or Fred. That was the face that I could see. And their faces are all about the same. But imagine looking through a glass window, a screen window, into the dark and seeing somebody's face kind of barely lit up by the room light. So for somebody,
I'm
leaving it to 3 people. So,
and is that peeping through your window?
Yeah, and it wasn't planned, and I wasn't supposed to be home, and nobody knew I was supposed to be home. That was one of those deals. We drove to the houseboat, and something happened because he owns a business. Somebody didn't show up or something. We had to come back and cover for whatever. I didn't have to cover. He had to go take care of whatever he had to take care of. So I came back home, got dropped off.
Well, in your opinion, is it likely that a stranger would come up to the hill with 2 adults outside and more children running around?
I wouldn't think so. If it's anybody that lives here close, they know the stigma of the spot.
Yeah. It's a dead end, too. Like, it's a dead end, so where are they going to... It's a steep hill, so, like, people doing crime, they don't want to go in a dead end area usually. They need a way in and out that they know is quick. Do you see what I'm saying? Right? And a dead end ain't it.
A dead end ain't it. A rule, if it's a stranger from out of state or out of county or somebody that knows nothing of Beech Creek, nothing of Beech Creek. Now, look, I'm going to put this like this. I know people that I went to school with that I would say, hey, we're going to go out here to my grandma's house and do this, that, and another. And they'd be like, well, where's it at? I'd be like, Beech Creek. They're like, I'm like, you're with me. You're fine.
Well, it's my opinion and my opinion only. I don't think any stranger walked up that hill. I don't think anybody went into the basement and got her. I believe that Summer was already outside and possibly down at the bottom of that driveway. All the initial reports say that she was last seen outside. Her brothers last saw her outside. Jody Sue said the brothers told her that they were outside. So I don't think the whole theory of somebody had to walk up the drive and all this, I think that just needs to be disregarded. I think it's very, very possible she was at the bottom of the driveway or even further than that. And I don't think it would have been somebody just like cruising around to pick up a kid. I tend to think it could have been somebody from right there within that holler. If not, then it was something that was arranged.
Hey Siri, what's that toothbrush that was on the Today Show? I'm never switching toothbrushes after trying.
Yeah.
I would have never thought
Like, so
that
you do
that
think
would
she
happen.
got hurt, probably.
I mean, I think it's a good possibility because I know about how rough the boys were and how everybody played and however, it's kind of one of those situations. It's as simple as maybe she fell off a swing and everybody panicked. Or maybe they was out there and riding motorcycles. I can't say I wasn't there. I don't know where I was going on that day. I have no clue what that day or the sounds on that hill was.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be an unpopular opinion. I tend to have quite a few of those, but that's also a scenario that I have thought about. Was Summer outside playing with the brothers and things got out of hand? Somebody got too rough. She got seriously hurt, something like that. Candace panicked, freaked out. Of course, first instinct was to cover for her boys or boy, whatever. That is a scenario that has definitely been in my thoughts from the beginning. And I know it's not a good YouTube thing to talk about that, but I'm going to talk about it because it is very possible. And, it's hard to put ourselves in that situation. What if that did happen? Would we want to protect our other child? I don't know. The likelihood is probably slim, but it is a possibility. And then there's always, if you remember, Jody Sue saying that she heard Candace asking one of the boys, "What did you do? What did you do?" I think that afternoon's timeline is all messed up because I don't think Candace was paying any bit of attention. She possibly was intoxicated in one way or another. Maybe she was just sleeping and she wasn't paying attention. We don't know. But I'm almost certain she just was not paying attention. And so that whole afternoon, the time she got home, it's all skewed because, well, a lot of it's probably just made up because she didn't really know. And I think too that's what Jody Sue meant when she said that she thinks Candace locked herself into a timeline that she just wasn't able to basically wiggle herself out of at that point.
I don't know. I don't know what happened.
So I
I
noticed
have,
that when you were just talking, you more so mentioned Candace, and I don't even think you noticed it, but it wasn't like Candace and Don. You Candace come out of your mouth. Is that more where internally you feel like Candace did something by accident, maybe? Like, I catch on to those little things.
okay. Look, I maybe feel like Candace might have panicked a little bit faster than what needed to be panicked or something, and maybe I don't know. Sure, I don't want to put that on nobody that don't
I
deserve it.
know.
I don't, but it's just
It's okay to have your thoughts and opinions on this, especially since I know that
look,
it's been eating you
look,
alive too.
maybe
If you hate foundation, you're going to love this. Mini Miracle Balm Trio is 3 balms that
maybe Donnie knows after the fact. I didn't wrap myself up in this. I had to be at work at least by 8:30, and I had to stay there till at least 5:30. That was my days. I had to get up. I had to go to work. I had to make that money every day to provide. So I
Mm-hmm.
didn't pay attention to all this side shit. Yeah, if they called me, they wanted something, I took it, I dropped it off, I went to
Mm-hmm.
my hill. I stayed on my hill. There's too many questions of me if I didn't do as what I needed to do as fast as what I needed to do and get home. I was always screwing somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Store clerks, cashiers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
I think that Andy is giving a very heartfelt assessment of what he truly thinks. And I can appreciate him saying, I just don't know. I don't want to put things like that on people, that basically may have not done anything wrong. I feel the exact same way. That's too much for me to bear to think that, in a year or two, say it comes out and we find out what happened with Summer and the parents absolutely had nothing to do with it, that maybe things did kind of go down the way Candace said they did, minus a little thing here or there. Maybe she didn't feel that that was important at the time. I don't know. But if it would come out that they did not have anything to do with this, I don't think my heart could bear the fact that, I had gone on for years about how horrible they were, what they did to these children, that they, murdered their daughter. Man, I couldn't live with that, and that's just why I don't do it. So I can appreciate that Andy is being this way. He says that they love their kids. Jody Sue said the same thing in some of her very, very first videos that she put out when Summer went missing. So I think that that's, the consensus of quite a few people around them. And I understand it's not everybody's, but these are people that actually saw them interact. All of us here on YouTube, we didn't see that. I appreciate that he's not doing that. I do know Cher feels that Candace is guilty, so I can see where she's kind of trying to lead him with this, but he's not falling for that trap. We also know that there is a whole lot of meth traffic going on in that area. I mean, there's one person that's been sitting in jail for quite some time over that exact thing, yet everybody seems to want to believe everything he has to say. Well, I've done many, many videos on children that were involved in situations where
There's been anyone being questioned from any law enforcement. I heard rumors that FBI might be around questioning people. Do you
I don't know. I'm not. They've not been to me. I've not seen FBI, TBI for 2.5 years.
So how
I
many
have
times
nothing to.
have they come to you?
The only times I seen them is when they was doing their initial searches over the first week or so. Maybe I talked to them on and off a time or two. They searched my property. Now look, I know this has been one of those things of they saying nobody could search my property. Everybody, every time they came through and said, "Hey, can we search?" They was allowed in my houses, in every building on my property, with dogs, without dogs, or everything. Everything was cooperated with.
Right.
I always wondered why people said that Jody Sue and Andy didn't let them search their property, because law enforcement from the get-go said that everybody in that area was, they were cooperating. They didn't even really have to get search warrants at first. And if they truly haven't spoken with Andy since then, I'm going to go on a limb and say it's probably because he has a very clear and good alibi. And if so, then that washes away everything that Fred Hill has said. And why would Fred be saying all that? Things that make me wonder. It's kind of like deflection in a way.
Priority number one was finding the missing 5-year-old Summer Wells. It wasn't me having a couple pot plants or anything like that.
Right, because would you have cared? Like, yeah, you wouldn't have cared over.
I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit if I would have got in trouble for what, 9 plants that I had that wasn't even a foot tall over a missing 5-year-old child.
I know that she's not been found yet. It's been a really long day. I heard her mom hollering, immediately started searching with her mom before the cops were called today. I've been through every creek, we've been through valleys, we've been through all our properties. I've screamed until we're just trying to get back. I've got people waiting for interviews there.
I pray she's found safe.
We are doing the same. Yeah, she's the sweetest little thing. She's a good kid. Something's real wrong here. We need help.
Yes, this is 2 or 23 pounds at this point.
I noticed that my weight was really.
Please spread her picture. Like her, she likes her brother's hair, and so it's shaved. It's blonde-headed, blue-eyed, about 4 foot tall, not school age yet, but close. About 4 years old. Her name's Summer. Cutest little disposition, faster than lightning. Definitely barefoot today.
Now, why would Jody Sue say definitely barefoot today? How would she know that? Unless it goes back to one of the other videos that I did that in Jody Sue's own words, she said she knows where she last saw Summer. And in that point, she was talking about Summer being outside.
Spread her picture. Keep spreading it. Keep sharing it. Keep looking at the cars, especially any weird ones coming and going out of state, in state. Don't make shit.
And to Jody, I do want to say something. She's always saying, share her picture, get her picture out there. She is one of the very few that never, ever, ever shows Summer's pictures, especially when she does, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hour lives. She never shows Summer's picture, not once. So I wish she'd stop saying that everybody needs to show her picture. We do, Jody. We do.
Yeah, it used to bring me peace, and it was my quiet, and now it is disturbing as shit. It's the least I can say about it. And every noise and every branch and every voice and every flashlight and every lightning bug and everything has got me on edge, and I can't turn on the TV, and I've got the fans and the air conditioning's off, and I'm listening and I'm watching because, well, maybe later we'll get to why that is, but definitely not anytime soon. But
why has she always made this about her? Like you saw in that clip just a little bit ago, she was at the drive-thru and she's all, I gotta get back home. I've got people waiting to interview me. I mean, she's always put herself right in the middle of this and made it all about her. Poor Jody Sue, poor Jody Sue. She's terrified, all these monsters everywhere, and on and on. And here she's got her child sitting right there in the back seat, of course.
And just the situation itself. So it's in absolute PTSD mode. And then trying to keep watch over, because like I said before, my kids and her kids are the only ones in there. And mine's the only little girl in there right now left. And we're hoping soon that will be the case and Summer will be home. But terrified something's going to happen to mine, or somebody's going to try to come back, or somebody, because this is not, I don't know, not like I said, I don't say much, so I'm not going to touch on that. But this isn't normal. Never 5 days ago, and I know kids can get kidnapped or taken and whatever from anywhere and lost and la la la. This is not normal. Some of the things that are happening there created a perfect storm, including property sales, out-of-staters coming in to look, not just for my piece of property, but other ones that are selling for Beach Creek right now. There are crews in there, whether anybody knows or not, there are crews that have cut down all kinds of shit and ground it down, are still in there doing so. And I think it's created a perfect damn storm. And it's part of how it's happened, but this to me screams super risk and super predator, just trying to get up there to one of our children. That was one hell of a risk somebody took. Because I don't know if the news has changed it finally to she's been taken or whatever, but my personal opinion is that's what happened, and I kind of felt that way within the first 5 minutes, first day. So keep that in mind. There's definitely, in my opinion, a predator loose, and our kids down in Beach Creek are the perfect targets, right? They're poor, cop response times, this and that, right? So if you're going to take the fucking you know what I'm saying? And it has definitely violated the security and the peace some of us felt by living where we live. We give up modern amenities and shit to live where we live in order to live the way we live and in peace, and to have security for our children, and for it to be taken that fucking quick, it's mind-blowing.
So what did we learn from the... I definitely just try to give you the facts, or give you the people's words in their own words, and let you be the judge. In this first clip, he claims that Jody Sue had access to all of his phones, his messenger, his accounts, and that she used to track him. Well, I don't think she would deny any of that. For all the screenshots she has, she must have tons of phone storage. One thing is for certain. We know Jody Sue Brown does not delete much.
And I can't look back on the phone and say, yes, this transpired, or yeah, I sent that message, because I don't have that phone. That phone was being tracked when I left, and I got rid of it. And then, she had access to all the accounts, my messenger account. I had lost a phone in DC, I thought, or my phone disappeared somewhere thereabouts, or I lost it or something. It popped back up So, in my opinion, stuff was weird. I've been tracked before and asked about why I was certain places that I honestly wasn't. Some places I was.
Hmm.
Oh,
So there's that. The next thing he discusses is, do you remember when Jody Sue has said that he told her daughter that he knew Summer was deceased and where her body was and all of that? Well, so this is what he's going to talk about next. He says that that was all in a dream. After we watch this clip, I will also play a clip of Jody Sue responding to that on the same night that Cher did this live, as well as what his own daughter had to say about it.
You mentioned having a dream. Now, one big thing Jody Sue says that you can't be around y'all's daughter because she's deathly afraid of you because you came home in a huff and puff and you threatened her, that you saw Summer's trigger warning people, but you saw Summer's unalived body, and Jody Sue says you use that to scare your child with. Can you tell us a little bit more? I know you did mention that it was a dream you had, but can you kind of tell us your side of this situation?
I never said I seen her body. I said I had a dream that I seen her body. Yes.
Okay.
A few days after Summer went missing, there was a funeral in the cemetery across the street, and I woke up to funeral music, and I'm pretty sure it correlated with all that. So I don't think it was a conversation between me and my daughter. I think my daughter heard a conversation between me and Jody Sue talking about said thing. Maybe me and Jody Sue was arguing at some point in time. I don't honestly remember at that point in time between me done being ready to leave the house, leave everybody behind, just walk away from everybody because I couldn't handle it no more. Shit was a blur.
And she wants no contact. She wants her name not to be on his lips. So do the judges in courts and those papers. He's abusing a child in the open by calling her a fucking liar about what he said. It wasn't poor Hims that had a dream. He'd ever cared enough about anybody to have a fucking dream about him. Especially not Summer.
That day he was, whatever, doing his usual roundabout, screaming at people. But that day, I went down to the cabin. I sat outside the cabin while he was, on his escapade about, whatever it was. Then I got into the cabin after he screamed at me about being near the cabin. And then he comes back a few minutes later after storming off. And then he comes down, says something he said to Boog.
Which is her brother.
Yeah. And then he started screaming again, and then he was like, I already know Summer's dead bodies. I know Summer's dead somewhere in a ditch, I know Candace did it. I know Dawn did it, whatever.
Want the fastest working GLP-1? For half the price? Roan now.
And, he was just screaming about that. And then he was like, after that, it was like, I'm so tired of, he mispronounced Equa Search. And he said Aqua Search. He screamed, I'm so tired of Aqua Search. Holding me back to all these police officers and stuff. And he was on about that. And he was screaming it. And, yeah. And then he went back onto the Summers dead body thing in worse detail.
Phew. Yeah, so, you guys, as always, you're going to decide who you want to believe on that and who you don't. I can definitely tell you that I'm siding with his daughter on this one. Next clip, he talks about when did he actually find out that Summer was missing. And he said he did not find out until he got home. Many of us have always found that strange because Jody Sue has put out the text messages between her and him on that day. And it really does seem like there is a gap in some very critical hours.
When did I find out Summer was missing?
Yep.
When I got home. I still say it was like 6:28ish to 6:38ish.
Okay.
I mean, it was one of those deals. It was one of those evenings I had to get home because she wanted to go somewhere, but I had worked over for just a few minutes. It was going to take a little bit longer. So, I mean, we was a little bit like not air or nothing. We never stayed open long there. I remember showing up somewhere around the same time Donnie showed up, but the law also showed up somewhere around about the same time as I pulled in. So
you didn't find out until you pulled into your driveway that Summer was missing. Like Don got the call and it took him an hour. So you weren't alerted by Jody Sue at all beforehand?
No, I had heard nothing about none of this.
Okay.
Until I got home.
So if you've really kept up with this case and all the text messages that Jody Sue Brown has put out between her and Andy, you'll know that Jody Sue typically messaged him quite often, well, very often, and usually they're pretty lengthy messages at that. Good grief, my husband would just be livid if I text him this much. But, I mean, let's be honest, it almost seems like Jody Sue texted Andy so much that I'm surprised he was able to keep a job and work. But this did seem a little strange. I'm sure it will to you guys as well. I'm not saying Jody Sue did anything wrong, and I do want to make that very clear. I'm probably one of the very few creators that you will listen to and watch that will flat out tell you, I don't know what happened. But that's also why you won't see content from me that is just repeatedly slamming the parents of this missing child. I don't have to air my feelings about how I feel that they may have parented. I wasn't there. With that said, if our neighbor kid across the street turned up missing, I almost bet my husband's the first person I'm going to text, and I'm going to be like, oh my God, babe, the little boy or little girl across the street, they're missing, hurry, come home quick. Something to that effect. I would be in a panic. So I can see where maybe, she didn't know that Summer was missing during this portion of the afternoon. However, why did she never mention that scream? The scream, that her and her kids all said they heard, that they went on the news and talked about? There's no mention of a scream in any of those texts. That I'm really only leaving it in here because I think Andy feels he needs to defend himself. There's been many people that have said that as soon as Summer Wells went missing, Andy took off. So I think in this clip, he's just trying to defend himself about that. And so therefore, I'm going to leave it in this video.
Let's pack an order for Madison in Michigan, who just built a protein coffee lineup that gets it. She grabbed...
At the point in time that she got her thyroid thing, I was ready to leave at that point anyway. I'd been done. It wasn't just this time me leaving. It was a little bit before Summer went gone that I went missing, and I took off and I disappeared, and it was a couple of years. It was, I would get fed up, and I couldn't take it no more, and I'd leave.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be the following around and the calling and the hey, the kids need this and the kids need that, and it would gradually be, hey, just come back home, or like the text you see, and just everybody, it got out there. I put it out there. About the hey, come by, just leave afterwards, type shit, and I can't explain it. There was something there for so many years, but then after so many years, it wasn't there no more, and it wasn't a fun game no more, and it wasn't something I wanted to wake up to. You knew your life was getting fucked up at 1:30 every day. I mean,
like you guys already had problems long before Summer went missing, and like were you
me leaving this time was not the first time I had left.
okay? So that's what I mean. Like there was ongoing
No,
relationship
it was
issues.
it was ongoing. I was always up to something, doing something with somebody else. That type of situation. I'm not the dude that goes to the bar. I'm not the dude that goes out with his buddies to the bars. I'm not the dude that goes out and does things usually without my significant other. I gotta have somebody accompanying me to have fun with, not just a bunch of stupid shit going on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't go to the bar and drink. I've never been a drinker. Yes, I have drank, but I'd rather smoke weed and sit home, or smoke weed and go wander around somewhere at like the Smoky Mountains or Hayes Mountain or a park or do something like that. Car shit. I just had to go. And after Summer went missing, she hears a noise in the woods at night. And I had to get up and go to work. Yeah, I took a few days off there after just to make everybody feel safe and stay at home. So, but yeah, at one point in time, it was just too much. I couldn't take it no more. I didn't want to come home. I didn't want to go home. Didn't want to have to go home. So, yeah, I had to go. I'm sorry I chose the wrong time. That was the worst time I could have chose to finally just say, hell with it. I got to go. But
I always kind of giggle at Cher when she's doing an interview like this and she's all, because I know what I would be thinking if I was thinking or saying out loud, Anyway, so in the next clip, she asked Andy, what does he think happened? And, well, I'll let you listen to it for yourself. But I will tell you, he's